All right, we're here today with Marissa Traeger and Katie Allwert, and we're talking about the Needham Education Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. You guys are the co-presidents. Thank you for stepping up and helping the community, by the way.
Of course, thank you. We're happy to be here.
All right, what can you tell us about the mission of the Needham Education Foundation?
The Needham Education Foundation aims to provide impactful and innovative and engaging grants throughout the public school system here within Needham.
Okay, so that includes things like you have at schools, we have the teachers, you've got the parent-teacher councils, and then you guys are another layer. Like, how do you work together with the parent-teacher councils?
Sure. So the NEF aims to fund lots of different projects in lots of different schools. So we work with all of those cohorts who are interested in funding. So students can apply for grants, parents can apply for grants, often teachers and administrators apply for grants. So we like to think we sort of have an opportunity to fund anyone who has an innovative idea that would enrich their particular school.
You must love it when the kids actually apply for a grant.
That's our favorite.
Yeah.
That's our favorite. Yes,
Yeah.
It's also our hardest. No, thank you. Like it's really special
Yeah.
when they take the time and they also get the teacher support, the principal support, the community support, and take the time themselves to really sort of advocate for their own learning. It's wonderful.
And we have community members serve on our grants committee, so you don't have to be a board member to be part of the grants committee. We have one person join us. So we've had school librarians, we've had other teachers, and I think we're hopeful we might have a high school student in the year ahead to kind of give their perspective.
That's wonderful, yeah. So do you have any favorite grants that you've given? I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but anything that you can think of that people would find interesting?
Yeah, the one that I really love is actually here at Pollard. They do American Sign Language as part of their language program. So in addition to Spanish and their other language opportunities, I know my daughter specifically is excited about it, and I think it's also just a really sort of way to increase accessibility for those, for people within our community who have those needs.
So the grant was to implement an American Sign Language.
That's right. So it piloted in 7th and 8th grade an American Sign Language class.
That's great.
Yep.
And my favorite is actually my youngest daughter's favorite, which was BattleBots, which was a robotics grant that we gave to High Rock. And when I was debating whether or not to be co-president of the NEF, she reminded me that that was one of her favorite things she's ever done in High Rock. And how could I not want to be part of an organization that would sort of give her that experience?
A little guilt trip from the family.
Exactly.
Love it. Now, during COVID, you guys played a big role actually in helping the families in Needham. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so we were able to provide a large grant towards the district in order to fund the possibility for all students in all the elementary schools K-2 to go back full time. Families will remember we were hybrid at that point, and so we were able to provide funding for PPEs and staffing and air filtration updates to sort of allow that return to school to be very safe as possible.
That's amazing. Yeah, I had a number of situations as a realtor where grandparents were moving to town in order to be the stay-at-home parents for the grandkids. So mom and dad would get the kids ready in the morning, take them to the grandparents, go back and work from home while the grandparents were watching them on their computer screens. So having them in the schools full-time for that age group, I imagine, was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And a recent grant we did that was sort of specific to younger kids. This is a DEI grant that we worked with the Needham Public Schools to identify. So it's around diversity, equity, and inclusion teacher training. That was a focus for us last year. And we're excited to kind of continue to partner and get a sense of the efficacy and what the sort of outcomes of that are.
That's really important, super important. The Rotary Club actually did a diversity book fair. I don't know if you remember that, where we allowed the teachers to go to this website and create a wish list of books. Basically, our objective was that the kids should all be able to see themselves in the books that they read at school.
That's wonderful. We have an upcoming grant. I don't even know if it's been announced, but using Portrait of a Needham Graduate, identifying some competencies that we're hoping kids will leave the Needham schools with. Teachers have then further identified books that help kind of teach those competencies, and we're going to be funding a set of those books in every elementary school. So not only are the individual kids going to have the experience, but across elementary schools they'll have a shared experience of having read similar books, whether you are Mitchell, Broadmeadow, Elliott, etc. So there's sort of a cohesive element there.
As a realtor, people will come and say, which school is better, and I'm like, there's a curriculum review every year of one subject, right, where teachers from all the different schools go around to towns we consider to be our peers, and they see what they're doing and bring those best practices back to Needham. I mean, there is a wonderful best practice sharing that goes on between the schools. So it's really hard to say that one school is better than another in this town.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's really sort of the main appeal of the town in general, right? Is that we are so lucky to have the Needham public school system. We are so lucky to have the quality of educators that we have. I mean, these are deeply committed teachers who have been teaching for many years, and even the teachers that we've had a few teachers who are like new to town, but they have been just engaged and impactful, and it's been really, really wonderful. So anytime we have friends who are looking at places in town, I'm like, find the house that you like. Any school that you end up at is going to be a wonderful fit.
And on the NEF side, we offer grants to elementary schools, and if a specific elementary school has huge success with the grant, they can sort of replicate, other elementary schools can replicate that without too much work on their end. It's called an express grant. So an example is we had ukuleles, and I should know where they started, the origin story of the ukuleles. I'm not positive. They were at one elementary school, and I think they're now at least at 3 or 4 because they were so successful. Other schools sort of saw that and replicated it in their school. So we're eager for that information sharing and best practices.
That's really great. I mean, you guys are the pilot program organization, right? Sometimes it's the schools that take it on, sometimes it's, yeah, that's wonderful. All right, well, if you are working from home and you'd like to give back to the community, definitely check out the NEF website. It's an amazing organization. It's been around since 1990, and they do amazing work for our kids here in Needham. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was really nice to meet you in person.